to my channel. This week we have some problems to fix. So a couple of videos ago we planted our peppers and chilies, and then I think the last video we did the sweet potatoes. We're having problems with both. Essentially they're both growing mould, and I had to do a lot of research to find out what the problem might be. So with the peppers, if I show you, this is what's going on here. I'm not sure if you can see that properly, but there's mould that goes all the way around, and it's happening to most of the pots at the moment. I think the issue may be that I put them in a greenhouse thinking that would help with the humidity, but actually, as it turns out, they need a lot of airflow. So plan moving forward is to make sure the window is open near them. Then I think I've been overwatering them, again thinking that they felt dry, but as it turns out, I need to be making sure that the soil underneath is dry, not just the top soil. And obviously they're in paper cups, thinking that would probably be better in terms of like the environment, but perhaps I need to be putting them in plastic pots. I've done a rummage and I found a load of different sized plastic and glass pots, so I'm hoping that will help. So fingers crossed we can still save these peppers and chilies. With the sweet potato, they're also growing mould. If I show you my tray, it's here, and this particular sweet potato is not looking very good. So again, I've done my research. I think if I scrape the mould off the top, sprinkle some cinnamon as like a natural anti-fungi, and get rid of that potato, I'm going to see how it goes. If next week they're still not looking good, I might restart the whole thing again. New sweet potatoes, and also a pot that drains, because this one doesn't. So that's my plan for today. We're also going to do some baking. I need to do some bread rolls for the week, so I thought you could join me for that. And we also have found a pot for my herbs, so we're going to pot those as well. So a really nice, cozy Monday. Done the chilies and the peppers, so now we just need to sort out our sweet potatoes. I'm not sure which ones are actually savable, and we may actually have to start again. So initially this one has got mould on it, so I'm going to get rid of that one. That one also has mould on it. That one's okay actually. That one's fine. And that one is mouldy. So okay, we've got 3 sweet potatoes. What we're going to do is get rid of this mould that is on top, and hopefully that will help. And then by sprinkling a bit of cinnamon on, fingers crossed, it will help, because there isn't any mould this side, so perhaps we may have got to it just in time. So we'll get a bit of cinnamon out. I'm not sure why this helps, but people really do recommend it. I don't think you need that much, but it's just like a natural anti-fungal apparently. But we love that, because the last thing I want is to be putting any pesticides on my plants at the moment. I'd really rather not. So if we can use, and it smells nice as well, so great. So that's all we're going to do for the sweet potatoes, but we'll check in next week, and if we have to start again with a drained pot, then we will. But yeah, I'll check back in with you. So the next thing I want to do is do my herbs. Now, my other half, my partner Andy, found this for me on eBay, I think, for a really good price, and I've been looking for one for ages, so he surprised me with this for Valentine's Day. And it has different sections, so it's got chives, basil, parsley and chervil. I don't know what chervil is, but I'm not going to use the chervil one. I'm going to replace it with mint, because we use that more often. And then I might also, perhaps next video, do some rosemary as well in like a separate pot. So that's my plan. But isn't it just absolutely lovely? And it has a draining pot which is actually attached, so which is it's actually great. So yeah, and I've never used these ones before, so I'm assuming you just fill it up and then just put the seeds in here. But that's what we're going to do today. So okay, so I've got my pot and my seeds. They are all in Latin, so I'm going to have to check which one goes with which. But let's fill up the pot. As you can see, I am still indoors doing all this because I don't know where you guys live, but it has not stopped raining here in the south. We had a bit of sun over the weekend, but there was showers as well. So it's just very wet on my balcony and also very windy. So I thought it would be best to do some potting indoors, and hopefully as spring comes in, I can actually be out on my balcony doing this because it's far less messy. And I love being outdoors, so yeah, we'll be out there eventually, just not quite there yet. Now it'd be really nice to at some point have this over in the kitchen once they've sort of bloomed, and then I could be using them on a regular basis. But we don't have a window over that side, so I don't know whether that will work and whether they'll actually need to be near a window. But we'll cross that bridge when things start actually growing. So I think we still have green beans that we want to plant, and then a few more different herbs. And then I think that's everything for my first season of trying to grow anything. One exciting new development is I have applied for an allotment in our local area, which our closest allotment is actually only 10 minutes walk away, which would be perfect for Indigo, my daughter. When she's a bit older and she can come with me, she could do all of the digging and planting and getting all of the vegetables and all of that. What I didn't realise was the wait list for a allotment is crazy. Again, I don't know if it's the same in your areas, but they said 6 years to me. So we're going to be waiting for 6 years for an allotment. I'm hoping by that time we'll have maybe a house with a garden, or the dream, a homestead. So yeah, I don't know where we'll be in 6 years' time, but if we are still here, then at least we will have the chance of having a garden, even if it is a 10-minute walk away. But I'm excited about that, actually. Okay, so that's what it looks like, and you've got some soil on each end. I'll press that in a bit, and I think I'm just going to put some seeds on the outside bits, but also slightly in as well, so we can grow a bit more. And I'm hoping it will work. So let's pop these in. I'm going to now do some bread rolls. Since baking my first loaf of bread with you guys, I've been doing that a bit more frequently and actually really enjoying it. So I thought I would try something a bit different and see if I can do some rolls. Because rolls is something that we quite like as a family, and we'll have them with lunches, and Andy can take them to work. So I thought I would give it a go. I don't think it's any more complicated. I think it's just about making sure that the rolls are the right size and weight and put correctly onto the baking sheet. So first of all, we will have to do the dough, and I think that you end up having to let that rise for about an hour and a half. So we'll do that and then come back and I'll show you what they look like. So let's start. So I've already done some pre-weighing. So I've got my bowl. I'm just going to put this on lock. Despite having an okay kitchen for a flat, to be able to film this, gonna have to use the cooker as my worktop, I think, which is fine. So first of all, you need 500 grams of flour. They recommend strong bread flour for this, so that's what I've used. Then you're going to need 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt. Get my salt pick. I'm just using a half a teaspoon measurer, so I'll just do 3 of those. That. Then we'll need half a teaspoon of sugar, and I've just got granulated sugar, and I didn't specify what kind of sugar, so that should be fine. Put that in there. And then also it says you need easy bake yeast. If yours isn't easy bake, then there is a step before this, so you might have to mix the sugar, yeast and some warm water together. So just bear that in mind. But getting the easy yeast is it's just easier, as it says on the packet. Chuck that in. And it's about 7 grams of that. And usually they come in 7-gram packets, so which is always helpful. Give that just a little mix. To mix all those ingredients in. I'm just using the spoon I've been using, but you can use whatever you have to hand. Okay, then you need your oil. Now it did say rapeseed oil. I'm not really a fan of rapeseed oil, so I'm going to use olive oil, and I'm sure that's okay. You need 2 teaspoons, so I have a teaspoon one here. There's not much left in this one, so I might have to move on to the next one. Yeah, a little bit though. We like to save every drop. I'm hoping we have enough. I definitely need more. 1, 2. One thing about me and baking is that I'm really messy, and some people just seem to be able to put stuff away mid-bake, and I'm more of a tidy at the end kind of gal. So hence why you'll see my workspace probably will get quite messy. Next you need 150 ml of warm water. So the recipe calls for 300 ml overall of warm water. So I've just gotten 300 ml, just to save myself a bit of time later on. And then make a little, kind of like a well in the middle of the bowl. And then you want to pour half the water in. About that. And then grab yourself probably a bigger spoon, might be helpful. And you're going to want to give that a mix for about 2 minutes. So I don't have a bread baker, that's the dream, but so I'm going to have to just mix it using a spoon, which is fine. But if you do have a mixer, use that, because my goodness, it would save some time. So it's starting to look a bit like that now, where it's starting to clump together but not fully. So that's what we're sort of looking for, I think. Who actually knows? No one. I add the other lot of water in. And now you've got a 10-minute mix. So get the jumper up. Okay, so now once it's been kneaded for about 10 minutes, and you'll start to see it properly come together. It's not sticky. If it is, add a bit more flour, but it should look a bit like this if I show you. A bit like that. So now you need to tip it onto a floured work surface and do some kneading until it sort of comes into like a ball. That's what we're looking for. Don't think you need to do it for particularly long. I want it to look a bit more smoother, which it already is looking much smoother actually. So just tighten the sides a bit. That. And it then will form a ball. And then you need to pop it into a bowl that's been oiled. I've oiled mine with olive oil. And then pop it in and then let the bread rest with a tea towel over it for an hour and a half. And then we'll come back and we'll separate the dough onto a baking sheet and then bake it. Hello and welcome back. So Indigo's had her nap, she's now just playing, so if you hear noises, that'll be Indigo. So our dough is looking lovely, it's definitely doubled in size, and so I think it's probably ready to separate into rolls and to place in the baking tray. So we'll do that now. So if you want to take a knife or well, whatever you want to in order to separate the dough a bit, you're looking for 90 grams per roll. So you can just go ahead and start measuring. Have it, so I've separated that into 90 gram balls, and then you need to make sure that they are no smaller than 2 centimeters apart. So that looks about okay actually, so hopefully they'll merge together when they bake, and then you can sort of tear them off each other. That's the idea, but we'll see how it goes. So this now needs to proof for 30 minutes, and whilst that proofs, I'll put the oven on for 190 just to preheat. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. They proofed. I'm hoping this is what they're meant to look like. We're going to pop them in the oven for 25 minutes and just see what happens. So we'll be back in 25 minutes to see what they end up looking like. Okay, so we've taken them out the oven, and it was about 25 minutes they were in there for. Apparently the trick is to tap the bottom, and if they, sorry, there's Indigo, if they feel hollow, then thank you so much for joining me this week. Hopefully we have fixed our sweet potatoes and our peppers, but I will update you on our next video, which should be out on Sunday, and I'll let you know how my first bread rolls go as well. And next week hopefully we'll do a bit more planting, maybe some thrifting and some more baking hopefully. So see you next week. Bye.